Welcome back to our channel on this beautiful day. We have an absolutely explosive update for you today. So grab your favorite beverage, settle into a comfortable spot, and let us dive right into the latest heart-pounding drama. The stakes have never been higher, and the tension is practically leaping off the screen. Let us explore the shocking confrontations and emotional battles that are about to rock the very foundation of everything we know. It is yet another chaotic and utterly crazy day in the DMV area, and the atmosphere is thick with unresolved tension, bitter rivalries, and heartbreaking uncertainty. At the very center of this brewing storm is the prestigious law firm owned by Bill, a man who has long been the formidable patriarch and the undisputed guiding force of the organization. However, the firm is currently operating under a dark, suffocating cloud of anxiety. Bill is not sitting behind his grand mahogany desk barking orders and leading his team to legal victories. Instead, he is lying in a hospital bed, incapacitated, and fighting a desperate, agonizing battle for his very life. The sudden absence of his towering presence has created a massive power vacuum within the pristine walls of the office, and nature, as they say, abhors a vacuum. In his wake, a fierce and increasingly ugly struggle for control is beginning to unfold, threatening to tear the firm apart from the inside out before Bill even has a chance to recover. At the heart of this explosive power struggle are Naomi and Tomas, two individuals whose personalities and motivations are clashing with the force of a runaway freight train. The relationship between Naomi and Tomas has always been fraught with a certain level of professional friction, but in the wake of Bill's hospitalization, that friction has ignited into an all-out inferno of resentment and hostility. The office, which should be a place of unified focus during this incredibly difficult time, has instead become a battleground for their massive egos and deep-seated insecurities. Every interaction between them is laced with venom, every conversation a minefield of passive-aggressive jabs and outright insults. The tension is palpable to everyone in the building, creating a toxic work environment that is the absolute last thing the firm needs right now. Naomi's motivations, at their core, are rooted in deep familial love and a fierce sense of protective loyalty. As Bill's daughter, she is not just an employee or a colleague. She is the heir to his legacy. She is watching her beloved father fight for his life, and she is channeling all of her grief, fear, and anxiety into a singular, unwavering mission to ensure that her father's law firm survives this incredibly difficult period entirely unscathed. Naomi wants to maintain order, project strength to their clients, and keep the business running smoothly so that when Bill finally wakes up, he has a thriving firm to return to. She views her presence in the office as a necessary stabilizing force, a way to honor her father and protect the empire he spent his entire life building. However, her noble intentions are being met with relentless opposition from Tomas, a man who seems determined to thwart her at every single turn. Tomas is a relatively young and newly minted partner at the firm, and he carries himself with a massive, almost crippling chip on his shoulder. He is fiercely ambitious, undeniably talented, but deeply flawed by an overwhelming sense of insecurity and a desperate need to prove his own dominance. In Tomas's eyes, he is the rightful heir apparent to the firm's leadership. He believes that his recent promotion to partner entitles him to step into the void left by Bill's absence and take the reins of the entire operation. The very idea that he should have to take orders from or even collaborate with the boss's daughter is utterly repulsive to his fragile ego. This deep-seated insecurity manifests itself in a profound lack of confidence whenever he is forced to deal with Naomi. Instead of recognizing her as a grieving daughter trying to hold her family's legacy together, Tomas views her as a direct threat to his own upward mobility. He resents her bloodline, viewing it as an unfair advantage that undermines his own hard work and ambition. This resentment has morphed into a fiery, aggressive attitude that colors every single interaction he has with her. He is constantly irritable, quick to anger, and seemingly incapable of maintaining even a baseline level of professional courtesy when Naomi is in the room. The power struggle between them is not just about who gets to make the decisions, it is a fundamental clash of values, entitlement, and sheer willpower. The physical space of the office has become a major flashpoint for Tomas's irrational anger. He exhibits a bizarrely territorial attitude regarding Bill's personal office and desk. It has become abundantly clear that Tomas simply cannot stomach the sight of Naomi sitting in her father's chair or even standing anywhere near his desk. Whenever Naomi is in the vicinity of Bill's office, perhaps looking for a specific file, or perhaps just seeking a moment of quiet connection with the father, she so desperately misses Tomas's temper flares uncontrollably. He views her physical proximity to the seat of power as a deliberate provocation, a silent assertion of dominance that he feels compelled to challenge. His hot-headed nature prevents him from stepping back and viewing the situation with any degree of empathy or logic. The simmering tension finally reaches a catastrophic boiling point during a particularly stressful day at the office. The pressure of managing the firm's caseload without Bill's guidance has everyone on edge, but for Tomas, the presence of Naomi is the ultimate trigger. Unable to contain his bubbling resentment and completely lacking in professional filter, Tomas crosses a massive line. Watching Naomi operate within the confines of Bill's office, Tomas's insecurity gets the better of him, and he unleashes a cruel, deeply inappropriate remark that shatters whatever fragile peace remained between them. With a sneer of utter disdain, Tomas looks directly at Naomi and spits out the words, "Bill isn't even gone yet, and you're already here marking your territory." The sheer audacity and cruelty of this statement cannot be overstated. In a single sentence, Tomas completely dismisses Naomi's genuine pain, reduces her protective loyalty to a cynical power grab, and callously references the very real possibility of Bill's impending death. It is a statement born of profound ignorance and blinding ego. It proves without a shadow of a doubt that Tomas has absolutely no understanding of who Naomi is, what she is going through, or the depth of the bond she shares with her father. He has projected his own ruthless ambition onto her, assuming that she is as power hungry and unfeeling as he is acting in this moment. Naomi, however, is not the type of woman to shrink away in the face of unprovoked aggression. She is her father's daughter, possessing a formidable strength of character and a fierce temper of her own when pushed too far. She is certainly not going to back down and let a deeply insecure, unnecessarily threatened junior partner speak to her in such a vile manner. When Tomas levels his accusation about her marking her territory, the shock quickly gives way to a white-hot, righteous fury. She cannot fathom the disrespect and the sheer audacity of his attitude. Standing her ground, Naomi glares back at him, her voice dripping with absolute disbelief and rising anger as she fires back, "What the hell did you just say to me?" Refusing to let his toxic behavior slide, Naomi immediately launches a blistering counterattack. She does not mince words as she systematically dismantles his pathetic display of dominance. She firmly reminds Tomas that the firm is in a state of crisis and that what Bill desperately needs from his team right now is cooperation, unity, and unwavering professionalism. She looks him dead in the eye and tells him in no uncertain terms that he needs to take his massive ego and his crippling insecurity and push him entirely to the side. She calls out his behavior for exactly what it is: a completely misguided, highly inappropriate personal attack that has crossed every conceivable professional and moral boundary. Naomi makes it crystal clear that she will not be bullied or intimidated out of protecting her father's life's work. As the shouting match escalates, threatening to draw the attention of the entire office and cause irreparable damage to the firm's internal morale, a desperately needed voice of reason finally intervenes. Caroline steps right into the middle of the explosive confrontation. Caroline is acutely aware of the delicate and highly volatile dynamics at play. She knows she has to carefully manage Tomas's fiery, strong-willed macho persona while simultaneously respecting and navigating Naomi's incredibly strong, unyielding personality. It is a diplomatic tightrope walk, but Caroline is determined to restore some semblance of order before these two stubborn individuals burn the entire firm to the ground. Caroline raises her hands, demanding silence and forcing both Naomi and Tomas to step back and take a breath. She looks at both of them, her expression stern and uncompromising, and proceeds to deliver a much-needed reality check. She explains with absolute clarity how critically important it is that they maintain strict order and a united front during this vulnerable time. She reminds them of the grim reality that they seem to have forgotten in their petty squabbling. Bill is currently lying in a hospital bed, fighting a grueling, agonizing battle to simply stay alive. The absolute least they can do to honor him is to ensure that the law firm he built with his own two hands survives this incredibly difficult transitional period without suffering any permanent damage to its reputation or its operations. Furthermore, Caroline shifts their focus to the much larger, far more dangerous external threat that is currently looming over all of them. She tells them with a tone of absolute finality that they need to immediately put an end to this ridiculous, ongoing argument over who gets to sit in Bill's chair. The internal power struggle has gone on for far too long, and it is a massive, dangerous distraction from their true priority. The real objective, the goal that should be uniting them rather than tearing them apart, is that Haley needs to be caught. Haley is still out there posing a significant threat, and as long as Naomi and Tomas are busy tearing each other's throats out in the hallway, Haley is slipping further from their grasp. Before concluding her intervention, Caroline turns her attention specifically to Tomas, recognizing that he is the primary instigator of this toxic environment. She delivers a stern, unwavering reminder of the fundamental hierarchy and the basic laws of respect that he seems to have conveniently forgotten. Caroline looks Tomas in the eye and reminds him of an undeniable fact. Naomi is Bill's daughter. She is family. Because of that undeniable blood tie, Tomas needs to tread very carefully. Caroline warns him that he must be exceptionally cautious from now on, and that he needs to pay very close attention to his words, his tone, and his actions regarding Naomi. It is a clear warning that his current trajectory is not only disrespectful, but potentially fatal to his career at the firm. As the dust settles on this explosive confrontation, the air in the office remains thick with unresolved tension. Caroline has managed to temporarily halt the shouting, but the underlying resentments and insecurities are still simmering just beneath the surface. The question now hangs heavily in the air. Will Naomi and Tomas actually be able to find common ground? Can Tomas swallow his immense pride, conquer his deep-seated insecurities, and learn to work alongside the boss's daughter? Can Naomi forgive his cruel remarks and trust him to act in the best interests of the firm? With Bill's life still hanging in the balance and the dangerous threat of Haley still looming large on the horizon, the survival of the firm depends entirely on their ability to put aside their differences. The coming days will be a true test of their character, and we will be watching every single dramatic moment unfold.